Broadly, commissioners, no, I don't have comments except obviously we're wishing folks safe holidays, and we're going to obviously continue to ask people to social distance, wash their hands, wear masks. I'm looking forward to rounding out this, our last committee meeting of the calendar year. At this moment, apart from that, I think we can actually start the agenda, and I'll comment as necessary.
Okay. I should have mentioned at the beginning that this is an open meeting and is being live streamed for on our YouTube channel. So anybody who is interested can check there. And with that, I will turn to the first agenda item, which is an update on the Open Meetings Act Compliance Board opinion, and I would invite Asha Memon as our general counsel to provide us some information about that.
Sure. For the record, my name is Asha Memon, general counsel for HOC. The first complaint we received was in September of this year. It concerned 3 of HOC's committees: the Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee, this Legislative and Regulatory Committee, and the Development and Finance Committee. The complaint alleged that those 3 committees were public bodies. Initially, HOC was of the opinion that they weren't, just because of staff knowledge and how the commission had been operating for the past 25 years. After doing some extensive research, we realized that there were documents from the 1980s that established those committees. And those documents are one of the ways that public bodies are defined by the Open Meetings Act. Eventually, in November, the Open Meetings Compliance Board found that those 3 committees were in fact public bodies. In the November commission meeting, HOC acknowledged that we received that opinion and that going forward, our committees, these 3 committees, would be operating in a public forum. Hence, this open meeting and the prior Development and Finance Committee meeting and the Budget and Finance and Audit Committee. Do you have any questions about that particular complaint or the opinion?
No, I don't. I read it and obviously signed receipt of it, and recognized that in good faith we had been operating as if the subcommittee exemption had applied to our committees. And when the board said that they didn't, then we are obviously complying. And as of today, with this open meeting, this is the third of our 3 committees are operating in an open basis. So thank you for that.
This second complaint we received earlier this month. It concerns HOC's commission meetings, the closed meetings held in the calendar year 2018. We are still in the process of submitting our written response, which is due January 6th, and we anticipate filing that timely. Usually, as long as everything goes to plan, the OMCB issues opinions within 30 days. So I would expect to see something from them maybe sometime in February.
Okay, great. So we appreciate all of your support. I know this, a lot of research has gone into figuring this out, and appreciate the work that staff has put into this, and we will be working through the logistics of how we comply as we get to each meeting, and appreciate that. The Commissioner Kroom, do you have any questions?
No, she answered a question that I had. I didn't know, but she answered it. Thank you, Asha.
Okay, great. Second item on the agenda is that there is a bill that has been introduced by a member of the state delegation related to HOC and the open meetings. Would someone like to brief us on the history of that so far?
Sure. So it's actually taken on a number of forms, and Asha, I'll ask you to jump in here, as Asha and Kristen, as we've the 3 of us been spending a great deal of time. So it was introduced I feel like just before we actually received the compliance board's opinion, and essentially what it does is, in its original form, limit the exceptions under which the agency can meet in closed session. I want to point out a couple things. First, there are related to the complaint that General Counsel mentioned just a few moments ago. There's an allegation that the agency has never complied with the administrative or closed session exceptions. Actually, we disagree with that, and in fact, note that it's a situation where we've used different nomenclature than is prescribed in the OMA. Sometimes administrative session, sometimes executive session. Again, consequence of practice over 2 decades, and so the allegation and the complaint actually follows on with the proposed legislation that HOC be limited to meet in closed session in fewer instances than prescribed by the OMA. There's been a flurry of activity around this, to include conversation with the county council, during which the county council actually opposed the bill as drafted. County executive supported. We met with the state delegates and were asked to meet with the bill sponsor, which we did. He had, at that point, proposed a new amendment, which included most of, all but I think 5 of the exceptions allowed under the OMA. Subsequent to our meeting, there has been another amendment, and I'll at this point let General Counsel kind of explain that.
So to my knowledge, this amendment, it gets us closer to what the OMA provides. It doesn't allow us the full range of abilities that the Open Meetings Act does. We are still in the process of working through that and communicating with delegates about what position we would like to take. And I think that's something that, we expect to figure out in the coming days.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, go ahead.
I have a question. My understanding from observing the recent committee meeting that addressed this was that there was another amendment being offered that I'm not sure we've seen in writing yet, that would have simply said that we must comply with the OMA as it's written to avoid problems such as the OMA being amended, and then us being out of sync in terms of our legal requirements versus the OMA. Can you tell me whether that in fact that amendment has been put forth or not?
We haven't actually seen the language as yet. There is conversation. I've had at least one indication that that's in fact the case, that we would see a change like that, but we've not actually seen the languages yet. There, and I might point out there is a committee meeting on, or subcommittee meeting on January 5th or 6th to discuss it.
Okay. It seems to me it would be challenging for us as a body. Well, first of all, one thing I would like to clarify just for anybody watching and for the record is that for HOC to take an official position, for the Board of Commissioners to take an official position, it would have to be at a full commission meeting with a quorum and at least 4 people voting for it. None of us as individuals can speak for the board. We only as a group in session with a quorum can make decisions or policy or take positions for the board. So we would need to have a committee meeting if we were to take a position, but it sounds to me as if it's not clear what the current amended status of the bill is. And I'm wondering, I would be hesitant to try to put forth a position of a bill that we're not even 100% sure exactly what it is at this point. If we receive something in writing, then that potentially we could have a reaction to that. But right now, I think the situation is rather unclear.
I don't disagree. I mean, we don't. Unfortunately, we don't have it in writing as yet. But certainly awaiting that. We had my last conversation with the bill sponsor. I thought went well and resulted in at least one amendment. I think, though, at the subcommittee meeting, a number of questions were raised by colleagues of the bill sponsor, and as I understand it, there's an effort to evaluate the need for the bill itself, and quite frankly, the scope of it. So I'm assuming that's why we don't have it, but I don't. I beyond that, I can't speculate.
Okay, appreciate that. Commissioner Kruma, what do you think? My sense is that there's nothing to actually react to at this point.
Not at this point, but I wanted to ask Stacy about this date. They're going to talk about this bill again. You said January the 5th, 21?
January 5th, 2021.
Okay.
Is my understanding, yes.
Okay. And you'll get back to us about that?
I will be in attendance at the meeting, and certainly if there is anything leading up to it, I'll forward that correspondence. But I will certainly be in touch with the with the chair in particular about at least what I've learned. Obviously, we're adhering to the guidance of the OMA, so we're making sure we take care to discuss it appropriately. But certainly, as soon as I find out something, I'll pass it on to you all.
Good enough. Thank you, Stacy.
And Commissioner Keller, just as a point of clarification, you are 100% correct that the commission could not take an official position on legislation, but you as a commissioner or Commissioner Kroom could write letters in your capacity as a commissioner to clarify your position, just not the commission as a whole acting in its official capacity.
Okay. Appreciate that. I think at this point in time, as an individual, I'm just as confused as potentially part of the board. And so I would not be one who would want to take a position on something that I hadn't seen in writing. So I think I will stand in waiting for that and see what we get.
I think that makes sense, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other item on our agenda today?
No.
Okay, great. Then if that's the case, then I will call the meeting adjourned, and we will see everybody in January. Have a good holiday. Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you. You too.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Stay safe.